love it. Don't you just love repeating jokes? Some people say it's a lack of originality. I like to call it, playful references, but look at that. Full tang, carbon steel. Look at that beautiful showmanship. And the tag is still on it again. I love it. I'm ready. Oh, bounty!
You heard me right, ladies and gentlemen. Today we are going to be bounty hunting. Our target? Maximillion. Oh yes, former law enforcement for the world of Anarchy Reigns. We have two groups that are searching for him, the light side and the dark side. The dark side are a bunch of bounty hunters. That's usually where I rank in. And the light side is actual law enforcement. Ironically, they're the ones who want him dead, so I'm not sure. By the way, Jack Kamen is in this game, therefore this is officially a sequel to Madworld. Also, Rinrin's in this game and Blacker Baron. Yeah. Anyway, Platinum Studios, once again, back for more, created this game as a literal spin-off, but still sequel to Madworld. So, yeah, let's just get right into it then. Let's take on Maximillion!
Animal of anarchy, the birth defects are now spotted like astronomy, and all genetic traces of hope are still anomalies. Plates of steel armory and scarred your grill. In a world so real, half a century still, armed to the teeth. Metal.
So before talking about the main plot, let me talk about some of the world building that Anarchy Reigns does. Let's see here. There's a little text scroll that talks about the world of Madworld and Anarchy Reigns, which is a nice touch, because we have no idea what was going on in Madworld by any means. So let's see here. War, different economies, nanomachine. Wait a minute, this kind of sounds oddly familiar. Am I missing something here?
Metal Gear Solid. It's got to be a coincidence, right? I mean, there's no way this is connected to the same universe as Anarchy Reigns, right? Right?
Anyway, the story is that they're looking for Max, who's a kind of gone crazy police officer, more or less. The dark side wants him alive because they're being paid to bring him in alive. However, Jack personally wants him dead. But he doesn't get a paycheck with him being dead now, does he? And the law enforcement, who honestly I can't remember the names to at all because it's we're just calling them the cops here. They want him dead. But naturally the main character, Leon, kind of has a personal feelings towards Max of fatherhood, more or less. So I should explain that a little more because that sounded a little weird, didn't it? No, Leon feels like Max is a father figure. That's much better, considering Max is way older than Leon. Yeah, Max trained Leon, so of course Leon doesn't necessarily want to kill Max if he doesn't have to. So there's a bit of a twist there. But honestly, it's all good. I mean, it's not in depth or, all this or all that, but for a game, it works perfectly fine. For a game, that's all you really need, right? And frankly, the story isn't half bad. They do have legitimate reasons to be looking for Max, and it's not like it's just thrown in there out of nowhere, like, oh, this is a story. And they tell you right up front that, yes, while these characters have their missions to either bring Max in alive or dead, they kind of at points want the opposite, which leads into my next argument, the characterization. So how are the characters in Anarchy Reigns? Well, they are fantastic. I personally feel that the characterization is just incredible, honestly. Particularly from the dark side. I'm going to get into the light side in a bit, but the dark side, the characters are funny, they're interesting. Jack has a great character arc because he wants Max dead, but he's paid to bring him in alive. And the reason he wants Max dead is because Max shot and killed Jack's only daughter. Jack is also trying to give up smoking, which is awesome. But you know, other characters like Blacker Baron and Matilda, and even smaller characters like Big Bull and Rinrin are fun side characters. And while he's not the main antagonist by any means, Zero's kind of a good minor antagonist as well. They keep coming back, and every time they do, it's entertaining. Yeah, some of the characters are somewhat offensive and stereotyped, but that's kind of their point. It's not like they're trying to take themselves too seriously here. But then there's the light side. Leon is good. I genuinely feel his relationship with Max. It's a little cliche, but it works. Nikolai is also a great foil to Leo. Or Leon. You can call them both. He wants Max dead, and here's the big spoilers, but he's the main bad guy. He's the one who hires everyone to kill Jack, and he kind of tries and kills Leon and, to a lesser extent, Sasha. But that's where I'm kind of drawing the line about the light side. I mean, you could always take Max. Max is a great character, honestly, too, but he's in both the dark and the light side. He has gone ballistic. He blames himself for the death of Jack's daughter, and because of that, he's kind of went a little loopy, killed his own wife, and then took off. Heck, he's trying to hunt down an old case. Something about a cyborg ripping out nerve clusters and absorbing them. Wait, what?
Kind of your rising. Platinum game. Not a coincidence, is it? It's got to be just references, though, right? One day I'm going to have to get to these. But in the meantime, let's get back to Anarchy Reigns, shall we?
Okay, back on topic. Let's talk about the other characters from the light side. Sasha honestly isn't that interesting. The only thing she's there for is sex appeal and to side with Leon at the end. That's it. She was trained by Max, but you don't really feel a lot of that, and that's problematic. Oinky and Duranga, I'm not sure how the hell to pronounce his name, but those guys are just annoying. They're not written well, they're comic relief, and quite frankly, I don't know if it's the actor or the script, but they're not really all there. Some people might find them interesting, and that's great, but to me, personally, I don't like them. They're just not doing it for me. I don't find their lines funny and comical like I would Blacker Baron and Matilda, or even Rinrin and Big Bull for that matter. And, you know, back to Sasha, she's a main character. That's bad. You don't have a main character who has no appeal other than the fact that she poses like Bayonetta. Which, I mean, yes, technically Bayonetta's in this game too, but other than multiplayer, she really has no use in the single player, so I'm not really going to talk too much about her. And on a personal note here, this doesn't really affect the game either or, but what the hell is up with Blacker Baron? He looks just like Black Baron, but I guess he's a black guy? And Rinrin? How is she alive after the gruesome death that she suffered from Madworld? None of this is explained, and that's problematic for anybody who's actually played Madworld. However, they probably did that specifically because if you haven't played Madworld, which was exclusive to the Wii, you could still jump right into Anarchy Reigns. There's a few nudges and nods. I almost tried to combine those words, which wouldn't have worked out well, but that's beside the point. But they don't focus too much on the game Madworld. And that's probably for the better, because most people playing the 360 and the PlayStation 3 at the time probably didn't play a whole lot of Nintendo Wii. So, I guess I just have to let that one go. It's a nitpick, but I'll get over it. As long as the gameplay works well, I think we can bypass that, right? Right? Yeah. So unlike other games in the Metal Gear series... Ah, crap, now I'm doing that too. Look, this game is not cinematic in the least like Metal Gear Solid. So you do get more gameplay here than you would on those games. And most of the cinema, especially on the light side, are just somebody's running away and maybe somebody's chasing them, and that's all you get. The dark side, once again, does way better when it comes to cutscenes. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about the gameplay. For the most part, it works pretty well. It's similar to Madworld, but tweaked to be an arena fighter type game rather than a single-player hack-and-slash type game. There's a counter if too many people are around you, and there's a new range mode where you can hit a foe numerous times or use unlimited special attack, which once again has a gauge, but you get less uses out of it than Jack did in Madworld. It's basically like a superpower meter, so to speak. Jack uses his chainsaw, obviously, like he did in the last game, and Leon has lightsaber-like elbow blades, and vice versa. Many characters have different abilities. They feel slightly different while playing very similar. Also, grabs are single moves now. In fact, everything is simpler than Madworld was, which makes things easy to explain, but that's not necessarily good? Not necessarily bad, but not necessarily good either. Madworld was already simple as it is. But I do think combat is pretty fun. It can get repetitive, though, when you're dealing with somebody who isn't a boss character or a computer-controlled regular character. Which is why multiplayer would be the better option, except good luck finding anybody actually playing this freaking game. I swear I'm the only one playing it right now. Oh well. It's easy to pick up and play, but it takes a bit to master each fighter. I don't know. When you're fighting boss characters, it's fun, don't get me wrong. But when you're fighting the small fry or even the medium fry, it's not as good and can get kind of old and repetitive. Thankfully, items spice up a little bit of the combat here and there, but for the most part, you're just going to be doing the same basic 1-2 punch combo over and over and over and over again, with a few dodges in between. And when somebody's blocking you, basically grab them and huck them to the ground. So, yeah. I guess we're looking to level design to make sure that this game doesn't get too awfully repetitive on the single-player aspect. Let's go take a look over there, shall we? So while this isn't Madworld, where the level design just made or break the game, it's not necessarily bad either. The level structure's pretty good, but missions are sadly hit and miss. There are some missions that are stupidly fun. They're almost similar to the mini death games that you find in Madworld, where they set up some crazy scenario and your job is to just kill as many fools as you can. Or sometimes you're transporting things and just trying to dodge people. But it definitely spices it up, especially when you're given like a big gun with unlimited ammo, or you're riding like a mini boss with, you know, all sorts of crazy powers and stuff like that. Their problem is some of the missions are stupidly hard or just don't play as well as they should. This is an example, of course, but there's a little mission, it's a free mission, that you have with Leon on the oil rig, and there's this big huge saw blade coming at you, and sometimes you can't even see this stupid thing, and sometimes even if you can see it, you can't exactly outrun it far enough for you to be able to get to the right or the left and actually dodge it, and it is an insta-kill. It's not necessarily hard, but it can be kind of frustrating. Also, some boss characters, especially when there's more than one, have stupid amounts of health and you have to whittle them down. This kind of can get old pretty quickly. Like I said, there are definitely some fun ones. There's ones where there's a giant, massive fight between a giant robot boss fight and you riding a giant super mutant. The problem is that on the other side, you're usually just fighting the giant robot by yourself, and that's it. It can be annoying, it can be frustrating. It's not too awfully bad, but at least it's not normal every day just beating up as many enemies as you can, which there are plenty of those missions too, so it's hit and miss for sure. Also, the camera can be kind of a pain sometimes too, which is definitely problematic. There's also this one tiny nitpick that I have on the targeting system, because you can target specific foes with this targeting system. Unfortunately, changing which foe you're targeting is mapped to the camera. So if the camera does mess up, you can always just move the camera to view what you need to view. The problem is you've probably accidentally switched targets by now too, and yippee skippy, you're trying to beat up the wrong guy when the big huge monster that you're trying to avoid is right behind you and about ready to take a chunk out of your ass. That can get annoying. It doesn't happen all the time, and it's not a make or break thing, but it was still a stupid design choice to map the camera to the same analog stick that changes targets. Just saying, just gonna throw that out there. Also, the point system to move on to each mission is a lot like Madworld, but you do side missions and main missions multiple times unless you're scoring gold or platinum. And if you just decide to go mess around in the overworld until you have enough points, you're going to be there for a while. See, what happens is that there are things called free missions or side missions where you're doing things just for the points. It's just a fun little distraction for you to deal with. You almost have to do it to move on. You don't have to, but you kind of have to. And then you have the main missions, which are story-based missions. If you do pretty well on them, which isn't too awfully hard, I was scoring platinums and golds all over the place. Normally you're just going to move on right away, which isn't bad. But yeah, if you're not too awfully good at the gameplay, this could be problematic. And if you find a mission that you just really don't like and don't want to play 5 more different times because it's either time consuming and or not fun, the overworld isn't the best place to rack up points. See, this is another nitpick I have, but part of the fun with Madworld was killing enemies in stage hazards. Stage hazards return here, they don't really offer up any points. They're just kind of optional things, and yeah, sure, sometimes you can get an option of nice little optional item pickup or a health pickup, but they're just small events, and sometimes they're more annoying than what they're worth. Like, oh hey, the entire floor of the stage is spread with poison. Hope you don't die. Hope you're not like the furthest possible point away from the highest building in the level, because if you are, you're screwed. Good luck. That's annoying. Unfortunately, it's kind of like Madworld, but it has lost its charm in the translation. So let's just look at what secrets and side quests have to offer, shall we? Come on, let's go. We can do it, come on. So let's not spoil the suspense. Secrets and side quests are just they're okay, but they're not really doing much of anything anyway. This file that I played, since I've played Madworld in the past, already had most of everything unlocked. But I'm pretty sure you unlocked concept art by going and finding it. But everything else, you can literally just play the main storyline and unlock them. Characters, unlock through the main storyline. Trophies for character models, they're here, but you basically get them by beating up a character or finding them in the main storyline. Do you want the music, the soundtrack? Yeah, it's here. You just gotta go listen to it in the main game. Characters, you unlock all of them by the main game. The only thing that you can do differently is if you restart the game, but let's say the first time you played you started with the dark side and unlocked everyone that way. Well, if you start with the light side and do everything that way, you unlock one new character, which isn't even that great of a character because he's kind of a palette swap of a different character and a bit of a clone, I think. It's not that good. So, yeah, play through the game. Don't bother completing it. And from what I know, you don't really get anything from getting platinums on all of this either. Not that that would be all that hard, but I'm pretty sure you don't get much of anything. Feel free to correct me in the comments below. And like, and subscribe, and hit that bell for notifications, all that jazz. But, yeah, there's really not much here. Again, you can download Bayonetta. I'm not going to do a separate video on Bayonetta because that would be absolutely pointless. So, let's go talk let's just wrap this up, shall we? There's really not much else here I can talk about, sadly. Okay, so let's look at the overall picture here. The plot and most of the characters are pretty good, but the light side is slightly disappointing in both the writing department and in the visual department because all of its cutscenes are just people running away. Missions are hit and miss on both sides. Some are fantastic while some drain the life out of the game. Items and combat in the game are okay, but all the characters have similar movesets with slightly different stats and animations to kind of make things a bit different, but overall, nah. And honestly, all the better secrets are unlocked by beating the story mode once. And some of the better secrets are mostly used in multiplayer, which is pretty much defunct at this point. Overall, I recommend the game cautiously. There are equal points good and bad, but if you're looking for a violent, sex-driven, sailor language, beat-em-up fighting game, then maybe you can find what you're looking for here. Or do you want a sequel to Madworld which improves some things and downplays others? Luckily, the game is dirt cheap. I got this for like $5 and that was a while ago. I think it's easily worth $5 at least. Just because of the lines from Blacker Baron. I mean, honestly, this guy's funny. Listen to this.
We're done here, Baron.
Done? This motherfucker's not even medium rare. What, your mama got you running errands, Jack? You bring her down here, I'll break her off too.
The guy's a riot. I love this guy. But, frankly, it's kind of a down-the-road, mediocre game for me. It's equal parts good and equal parts bad. So, I recommend it very cautiously if you have nothing better to do than to go out and seek and find this game, or if you find it in a discount bin at a GameStop somewhere. Sure, go ahead and try it out. For the most part, though, most people could probably pass on this one and wouldn't lose much sleep over it. But that's Anarchy Reigns, and next time that we do Sauron Takes On, we're going to be talking about an indie game, Bloodstained: Curse of the Moon. Sounds fun. Sounds like Castlevania, but it does sound fun nonetheless. So when we next meet, hopefully I'm going to be talking about the game. And I'll be doing little vlogs in between here and there as well to kind of tide over the crowds. I've got some interesting new toys that I'd like to play with, like an NES Classic. Or a Sega Genesis that somebody literally just gave me not an hour or two before recording lines for this video. So, yeah, that's interesting. Guy's awesome. When he gets his YouTube and Twitch channel up and running, I'll be sure to give him a shout out. But until then, take care, my minions.
Bye-bye.